Welcome to Greene Healing TV, and I am totally pumped today because I've got a dear friend, Elena Bensonoff, who is a pharmacist, an artisan perfumer, and the creator of one of my favorite new toys. It is a chakra balancing set, which I'm going to show you right now. Here it is. This is my set. Elena, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Rick, for inviting me to be a part of your beautiful world and the practice where you have so many wonderful patients, I'm sure, as well. And I'm happy to share information that perhaps might interest all of the people that come to see you.
Thank you. Well, the way this all happened was we met fortuitously, and it's always fate, and it was an instant connection. And I was excited to learn about something that you built, which I know took a long time and a lot of effort. Actually, it was a chakra assessment, which people could go online, and we're going to provide the links at the end of this. So all of you who are watching and listening to this can jump online. You can take her assessment, and then you can find out exactly which chakras in your body are a little weaker, and then you can get some help with this set. And of course, she does sessions too. So will you tell us a little bit about how this all started, Elena?
So I think we should go back probably 10 years. So I've been a practicing pharmacist for almost 20, so licensed as a pharmacist. And about 10 years ago, in 2007, I had a huge, we would say, wake-up call. I joined a fellowship in metabolic and nutritional medicine. And one of the cardiologists had us get up in class and practice something that's called Qigong. At that time, I knew nothing about it. I knew nothing about the world of energy medicine. So that was my first experience of what it felt like to experience energy that we all have within ourselves, and we all exchange it with each other, whether we know it or not. So I experienced it in my hands. And that was sort of a way that I was woken up and the light bulb went on within myself. And I became really hungry for this information, for knowledge. So not only was I studying medicine, trying to understand why people were getting sick, the root cause of the disease, but I also recognized that there's so much more than the physical body. So that led me to study different healing modalities with people from around the world. And it brought me to what I do today, which is a combination of medicine and healing. So I merged the two worlds together. And of course, my passion has always been in creating products because I worked as a compounding pharmacist. I don't know if some people know what that is. So basically, there are pharmacies that custom make medications for people. So I was in that world for a couple of years. And because of that, I also recognized that there's so many toxic ingredients that go into products. And so that was another light bulb that went on in my brain because I was mixing a regular cream. Actually, it was a hormone cream that is compounded probably all over the United States. And I recognized the first ingredient on the bottle, it said hepatotoxic, which means liver toxic. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is something that goes on into products. And not only physicians don't know, as a pharmacist, I had no idea for 10 years practicing that this is truly what was happening. And that led me to investigate and research and learn how to make my own products in a pure way. And of course, one of the ingredients that is one of the most toxic ingredients is the word fragrance, which is used in so many products. So not only topical products, perfumes, but it goes into so many things that we ingest through our skin, because our skin is the largest organ. And most people think that we ingest by swallowing. What's interesting that I learned in a compounding world is, we can compound a topical hormone cream, let's say progesterone, and the dose would be, let's say, 200 milligrams of progesterone. So an orally would be, 200, topically it would be 20. So what that means is when we take something orally, less than 10% gets absorbed because it has to bypass the digestive system before it gets to the bloodstream and organs. When you apply something topically, it actually bypasses the GI, right? The digestive process. And the ingredients, most of the ingredients, about 90% of them, end up going directly into the bloodstream and into the organ systems. So that brought a huge awareness to me. Okay, I'd like to create a change, not only in people around me, but I'd like to educate people around the world. So my first workshop that I did was about 10 years ago on how ingredients can truly influence us by applying them topically, because we do ingest them through our skin. So thinking of the skin as your GI tract would probably be a better way of thinking. It's our skin eats what we apply. So when I was teaching a workshop about toxic ingredients, I had about 65 participants, 65 attendees. And one of the women had asked me, since I was speaking about the word fragrance, if I knew of a natural perfume company at that time. So not only did I not know, right, so I couldn't recommend anything. In my mind, I made a decision that not only will I find one, but I'm going to learn how to be a natural perfumer myself. So that is something that I've added to my set of skills, and I absolutely love it. It's my passion. It's my creative outlet.
And I have some right here, so I'm sharing it.
Thank you. So, you know, I do so many different things, but this is one of the things that I absolutely love. And for me, it's always about honesty and educating people about ingredients. And sometimes I get people asking me questions, you know, is there one particular company that you buy or you source your ingredients from? And I think you and I, Rick, have discussed it a little bit. And the point is, there's not one company in the world that can source all of the ingredients and they're all perfect. So as a natural perfumer, this is something that I do and I take pride in, is I research and I find really good ingredients. And what happens a lot of times, there's shortages around the world. So sometimes the crop might not be as great as it was the previous year. So therefore, the same company cannot have an amazing ingredient every single time. So it would be very irresponsible for me to tell people that I only buy from one source. So I actually, as a natural perfumer, work with at least over five, I would say about 10 companies that I like. And if that interests people, then that is something I'd like to go into deeper. Anyway, so this is the perfume. But I'd like to talk about the chakra set. So the chakra system that you have, and it's something that I've created about 7 years ago. And I'd like to go into the reason why I think it's important. And what are these chakras anyway? You know, most people, it's like this new hype word. Everyone wants to know what this is. And I think truly no one really has to be spiritual to understand it. The only thing that I would say, the only message that I have for people is chakras are there as doorways that connect us to our mind, body, and soul. So if you can look at it as perhaps your soul is communicating to you and it communicates to you through these powerful messages called emotions. When you choose to ignore your emotions long enough, or you kind of put them on the side, you put them in short-term parking or long-term parking, let's just say in your body, then your body is going to start communicating to you in a louder manner. And that would be physical symptoms such as anxiety, or you might have pain somewhere in your body, lower back pain, right? And a lot of times people will choose to ignore that long enough or take prescription medications to cover the symptoms up, but not truly go to the root of why they're not feeling well. And then there's something that's called physical disease, and it's truly dis-ease in the body. And a lot of times I'll say to people that I work with that it is a gift. Why is it a gift? Because unfortunately, it's the only way that most people will be forced to create a change in their life of what they were doing before they got sick, and perhaps things that they would like to shift in their life moving forward. And that includes changing your diet, lifestyle, emotional healing as well. So there's all these different tools. And the reason that I created the chakra set is because I felt that every person is a healer. Every person can do this work. But sometimes we need little tools. And those blends are very powerful. They're infused with crystals as well. And they carry so much information. So there is an affirmation for each one. There's a sound. There's yoga poses, because I believe whatever it is that you do, it's important to move your body. We're not just souls living on this planet. It's very important to be grounded. We're here having this physical, amazing experience. And on the back of the cards, there's physical symptoms that you might be experiencing if the chakra is blocked, organ systems that are linked to the chakra imbalance, and of course, juice and smoothie recipes. So that is all there to kind of, I don't know if my screen just went off. Okay, so it's all there as tools to remind you what you can do in your own life on day-to-day basis, and it doesn't take a lot of time to create balance and bring balance into your life. And so even if it means that, in the morning you'll wake up and you just use the blend and you breathe and you allow yourself a few minutes a day to just take the time for yourself, to connect to you versus all the mind chatter and the stresses that go on in your daily life. And then the assessment came later. So the assessment that is available online, I actually just made it free recently. I used to charge a little over $9 for it, but I felt that there was such a need that people truly should be able to understand what is going on in their life. And one of the best tools to do that is, if you don't have anyone that can check it for you, is to take this assessment. And then from there, you receive so much guidance on what you can do yourself. And that is, to me, the message that I want to give to people is you don't always have to seek an outside source. The source is within yourself. And it's really about the small tools that you can use for yourself.
What a great message. And, today we have so much information, and there's so many people saying, you've got to go outside for the expertise, for the teaching, for the guidance, and we become dependent on constantly looking outside ourselves to try to find these answers. So that's why I love what you've done even more, because when we can look within, and here you are, an expert, a teacher, someone who has done it, telling us, just look within, you can be your own best healer. That's what I loved so much about this. And, again, we're going to tell everybody here's some of the stuff that comes in the set. I just love this set. It's beautiful. The designs, the packaging, the colors, just tells you how so simple.
To inspire people, because to me, I believe beauty, we all love beauty, and beauty should be there to inspire us to want to do something beautiful for ourselves. And I wanted to briefly touch on why I feel it's important for people to also understand the difference between cure and healing. I don't know, have you and I discussed it?
We did, but tell us again.
We did. So let me just get rid of that. So one of the things that I used to see in my practice a lot is people will come and say to me, my wife has sent me to you, or my doctor said I need to see you. So that automatically means the person is giving away their own ability to heal themselves. So you're making somebody else responsible for your well-being. And I believe that healing has to take place within. So every person that you're seeing in your life, whether it's a doctor, right, or a therapist, or somebody that does energy work, or even the set right here, these are only tools. We're all tools to support the process for the person to truly take charge and active participation in being better, and feeling balanced.
So it seems as though this evolution for you, I'm hoping that a lot of people who are seeing and listening to this will be able to relate to having something happen. And we're all dealing with different kinds of stressors and environmental stuff every day. So I think that the message that I want to convey is, no matter where you are and no matter what's going on, this is just another way for you to look within. This is all about self-care. One of the things that we wanted to do in coming together was to bring your product, your message, and just your energy. I know we talked about energy early on. I wanted to bring your energy to my audience, patients, clients, friends, family. Again, we got this. We used it ourselves at home. Myself, Carol, and one of my sons took the test, and we used it, and we're using it to balance our chakras. So I just love what you've created, and I can't wait for everybody to hear this. Tell us a little bit about what your goal is going forward. I know you have some big things going on.
So I wanted to briefly talk a little bit more about chakras, just a small, brief amount. So one thing I wanted to say, this is never a replacement for medical treatment, but it does work great in conjunction with. And I have the sets available at several doctors' offices in Florida. The one thing, interesting thing that happened about 2 years ago is I had a woman contact me, and she said, I just want to share a story with you. She called me, I've never seen her. She said that she has Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is the autoimmune thyroid disease. So she said that her numbers, her antibodies have been over 700 for the longest time. She could never bring her numbers down. And the only thing that she changed in her life was when her doctor gave her one of our chakra blends for throat chakra, which is linked to thyroid. It's fascinating to me. And she said that within 6 weeks, her numbers went down to below 200, which was fascinating to me. And she said that she has talked about it to everyone in her community because this was the only thing that changed in her life. So what I would say is this works great in conjunction with whatever it is you're treating. And then perhaps the dosing can be adjusted as the person is healing and moving forward, then things can also be adjusted. But isn't it amazing?
That's a terrific case study.
Case study. And you know what's interesting about throat chakra, since you guys are in the dental practice, throat chakra, when it's blocked, it's linked. A lot of people have issues with their teeth, root canals, cavities, persistent tooth decay. And this has to do with energetically, right? Not creating boundaries, not speaking your truth, self-editing to please others. And you know what I found is there's a huge pattern, especially in women, who tend to do this, and perhaps this has been going on for centuries. You know, where women feel they don't really have a voice or they're not heard, and but this happens for men as well. You know, in relationships that are dysfunctional, where a man is also not heard. So it will be interesting for you guys to start seeing those patterns as well.
Yeah, and men struggle at work and in the community and among other men, and certainly in their relationships. But I think that when we silence ourselves or when we feel oppressed and we can't find our true voice, and again, you just made me think about maybe what we should do going forward is actually have a short episode where we talk about each one of the chakras individually, and bring up some of these case studies, because I find it fascinating myself. I also find the results of the assessment fascinating. So the three of us got to talk about some of the things, why is that chakra weaker in you? And then that's the kind of thing that brings upon the intention for our own self-healing. So I think that even the conversation, not only this one, and thank you again, but the conversation going forward about this type of energy, how our bodies are really working. Because let's face it, especially in America in 2017, we're going even further away from the things that the ancients knew and explored, and that's all they had. So I always use the phrase, do what your grandmother did. We're talking about doing what the ancients did. Yes. Thousands of years ago. So I am so excited about it even for that level, because we really can. We release our dependence on outside sources and on the current medical system. You said it's not a replacement, but one of the things that we're doing here at Greene Healing Institute is sharing the alternatives. So, this program, as well as all the educational stuff that we do locally and globally, are to inform people, are to educate people, are to get people to say, wait, I am an energetic being, and everything that's going on inside me and in my world is about energy. So if I can if I can get my own personal energy back and learn some of these things, I probably can reduce my dependence on everything that's out there.
So one of the messages that I always like to share with people that I think is so important, in our day and age, people are so concerned about moving their bodies to look good, right? Eating better to feel better, flossing the teeth, right? You guys recommend flossing to prevent cavities. The one thing that no one truly has is emotional hygiene. And that is to me one of the most important things, because we cannot be responsible for creating a change in the world unless we clear our own emotions. And science is able to measure that now. Did you know that? So let's say you walk into a space, and this is a lot of the research has been done by Heart Math Institute. So you walk into a space, and the way that you're being without speaking to anyone can be now measured 50 feet away in other people's brainwaves. So this is how powerful we all are. And therefore, in order to create a shift in the world that we want to see, it has to begin within ourselves. And this is where the responsibility, kind of, and the ownership of who we are, all the light and the dark shadows of ourselves, we need to approach all of it. And therefore, chakras, this is why I feel they're doorways into looking into all the aspects of ourselves and what is going on. And therefore, the assessment, you said that you've been, you've seen your results and you talked about it with your wife, right? Your son, is so great, because it starts a conversation not only about how you see yourself, but how do others, loving people in your environment, see you? Because you can learn so much from all of it. So moving forward, you asked me, moving forward, where do I see myself? I see myself teaching people about the awareness of the energetic body, how it applies to our physical body, that we're not separate. It's not, science is not separate from the spiritual part of ourselves. It's really all merged, and it's so important as one, as a whole. Creating more wonderful products around the world, and healing people. This is really what I'm here to do.
And you're doing a great job. I am nourished by having you in my life. I know that everyone who's watching and listening will be also. And I'm just so excited about kind of linking this science and the spiritual, because what are we about? We are always about giving people permission to do what feels right. And so more permission granted today for you folks out there who are listening and watching, to, if you're kind of a science-oriented person and you're afraid of becoming a spiritual person, don't worry. You can link them both safely. You're safe with us. You can be who you want to be and still use this stuff. You can still engage in self-care. If you're a left brain person, if you're a right brain person, you can embrace more science. So I love that about you, Elena.
Thank you so much. And the aspect, truly, all of us have both within ourselves. And it's about balancing both parts of who we are. It's the feminine and masculine within all of us.
Can you tell everyone briefly how to reach you if they want to reach out to you? Because again, we are opening this up. I want everyone to be able to have access to you. So you want to give us a website, an email, a phone number?
My website is wholistic.com, WHOLISTIC. And one of the best ways to reach me, of course, is through the website, but you can also email me, info@wholistic.com.
Thank you so much for coming on with us.
Thank you so much, Rick, for having me.
And we will join again soon.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.